and welcome to the Midwest City Council meeting. Sorry we're running a little bit late this evening. Go ahead and call this meeting to order. Ask Mr. Sullivan to come down and offer the invocation. Ask for you to rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, and be led by Councilman Moore.
Almighty God, giver of life, creator and sustainer, we thank you so much for the blessing of this day and this occasion to do the business of this city. Father, I ask this evening that your will be done. Decisions that are before this council will be made with your wisdom and your discernment. Father, we thank you so much for those who are willing to serve in this capacity around this horseshoe. The sacrifice they make and that their families make through this process. Father, we thank you so much for this great city, this state, and this nation. Father, we thank you for sacrifices that are being made tonight to defend this nation all over the world. We ask for those who are serving abroad and at home to have peace and protection, comfort, and their families as well while they're away. Thank you for your son, Jesus. We thank you for the ultimate example of sacrifice that both of you made on our behalf and the blood that was shed. It's in his name I pray. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, we have several community announcements. If we'll go through those.
I'm reminded that there's just a little football game going on this Friday over in the original Square Mile. I think Midwest City is going to square off against Del City, so we haven't had any of those bets lately, have we?
They're scared.
Yeah, I guess so.
Gary's scared, or Brian's scared of us anymore.
When Midwest City wins again, maybe we'll have to have the band go over to their city council meeting. So September 30th, we'll have the Mid-America Street Fest down at the Charles J. Johnson General Environs down at Town Center. National Night Out, which is a celebration of our neighborhood associations and all the work they do, will take place on October 3rd, and they will take place at the various neighborhoods, and we'll be providing that information to you as we get it. Also, Chief Klebs mentioned upstairs that through his hard work, he has succeeded in lining up some funding, and that we will, the police department will be coordinating a 3-on-3 basketball tournament beginning with 4th graders up to seniors at Regional Park at the Thunder basketball courts on November 5th. So should be a big occasion out there. So that's all I have.
Anyone else have any community announcements for the benefit of our audience? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and go into our consent agenda. These items are placed on the consent agenda, so council members, by unanimous consent, can approve routine agenda items by one motion. If anyone does not meet with the approval of all council members or members of the audience wish to discuss an item, it will be removed and heard in regular order.
Move to approve the consent
Second.
agenda.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Go into our first discussion item.
Discussion D1, discussion consideration of passing and approving an ordinance dissolving increment district number 1, City of Midwest City, created by the approval of the Midwest City Town Center redevelopment project plan by ordinance number 2852 on August 27, 2002, as amended by ordinance number 2936 on October 12, 2004, and by ordinance number 2945 on January 18, 2005. In the body of the memo, we refer to the fact that we've received the final payment on the downtown redevelopment tax increment financing district in December of 2016. At that time, we notified the Oklahoma County Assessor's Office that the increment revenues received were sufficient to pay off project cost and to begin apportioning ad valorem revenues received for the district to the normal recipients. Since the downtown redevelopment TIF district was created by ordinance, the law firm that assists us in preparing the annual TIF district report recommended that the city pass an ordinance dissolving the downtown redevelopment TIF district.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next item.
This is discussion consideration of entering into an intergovernmental agreement among and between Oklahoma County, a political subdivision for the state of Oklahoma, Oklahoma County, the city of Oklahoma City, and Oklahoma Municipal Corporation, and a charter city organized and existing pursuant to the Oklahoma State statutes, the state constitution, the city of Edmond, an Oklahoma Municipal Corporation, and charter city organized existing pursuant to the Oklahoma State Constitution, and the city of Midwest City, an Oklahoma Municipal Corporation, and a charter city organized and existing pursuant to the Oklahoma State Constitution. The agreement is designed to study and evaluate the criminal justice system, collect and analyze data related to the criminal justice system, promote increased efficiency and effectiveness of the criminal justice system, recommend policies and programs to reduce recidivism, reduce jail population, to increase community and public safety, and recommend policies and practices to control the cost of criminal justice system and incarceration, and increase community support for the criminal justice system in Oklahoma County. I believe that Councilman Pat Byrne would like to make some comments about this.
Brandon, do you have anything first?
No, I'm here at your leisure.
Okay, the first thing I'd like to do is thank the city manager for allowing Chief Claves the time to work on this project. I'd also like to acknowledge the efforts that Chief Claves has already put into this endeavor. I'm personally acquainted with several members of the committee that have been working on this project. In the conversations I've had with them, they have told me how impressed they have been with Chief Claves, along with his insights and recommendations on the next step of this project. The city of Midwest City was recruited to participate in this project as a direct result of the strides the police department, under Chief Claves' leadership, has taken with the programs already in place in our jail and the community outreach programs that have been established. This is a result of the Greater Oklahoma City Chamber of Commerce and in their Justice Reform Task Force. A report was finalized in December 2016 by the Vera Center on Sentencing. The Vera Center was hired to perform an assessment of the criminal justice system in Oklahoma County. This was a result of significant sentiment that Oklahoma County was in need of a new jail, along with other concerns and issues that have come to light, which have been in the news recently, mainly a lot of the deaths in the jail. A group of prominent civic leaders, to include Clay Bennett, Roy Williams from the Chamber of Commerce, Oklahoma County District Attorney, the Supreme Court Justice, Oklahoma County Public Defender, along with numerous other prominent civic leaders, spearheaded the study. When the study was completed, there were several key findings and recommendations that were identified. The interlocal agreement that we are being asked to vote on and approve is an effort to start working on, in my opinion, is one of the most important, critical recommendations that was documented in the report. I'd like to quote that recommendation. The independent agencies and decision makers in Oklahoma City and county who make up local justice system do not coordinate or collaborate and do not share an understanding of how the jail should be used. Moreover, the criminal justice agencies have not been collecting, analyzing, or sharing the data that would enable them to understand who is in the jail and why, and to make informed, data-driven decisions. Vera proposes increased governance and oversight if the local justice system, let me back up. Vera proposes increased governance and oversight if the local justice system to eliminate these problems and improve data collection process. This includes the creation of a permanent staffed policy advisory board that can be spearheaded and sustain reforms. By voting affirmative tonight, Midwest City will have a voice on this advisory board, along with 18 other individuals, to include representatives from Oklahoma County, the City of Oklahoma City, Edmond, along with several other key individuals who have significant roles in the criminal justice system in Oklahoma County. Included on the advisory board will be 4 community representatives recommended by and voted on by members of the board. The advisory board and members will be instrumental in the future of the criminal justice reform in Oklahoma County. I think it is very imperative that we not only look, we look beyond this, is to ask why Midwest City was invited to participate. There was no obligation that the key government, civic, and business leaders that put this advisory committee invite us to participate. The people that invited us are very astute. They realize Midwest City is progressive as it relates to public safety, to include police and fire, and that providing a positive quality of life is an important aspect of the overall health of the city and its citizens. And I would recommend that we approve it when it comes up.
Thank you, Councilman Burns. We appreciate that information. Ms. Knight, you've signed up to come and discuss this with the council. Can you come forward and share your thoughts?
Good evening. I'm a resident of Midwest City. I am also a licensed bondsman in Oklahoma County. When Vera came to Oklahoma County to look at the county jail, they were paid $500,000 to do that. They immediately released their findings about the county jail, and they said that 70% of the people in the county jail were there on misdemeanors. So the bondsman in Oklahoma County took the task to actually find out if that was correct. We immediately, within 1 week of their report, we pulled a list of everyone that was in the county jail. We found an amazing amount of information that was different. Vera said that 70% of the people in the county jail were there on misdemeanors. What we found was, in fact, 92% of the people in the county jail were there on felonies. Less than 5% were there on misdemeanors, and the balance was civil and municipal cases, including people that were from Midwest City. We found that 70% of the people in the county jail were there being held on violent offenses. We found that more than half of the people in the county jail were already convicted felons or had DOC records. And my problem isn't with trying to figure out ways to fix what's problem with the criminal justice system. My problem is that we're just going to hand over money to Vera, who hasn't always had the best reputation in other places. We know that their report about Oklahoma County is incorrect. We know, as bondsmen, we know what the problem is in Oklahoma County. It isn't the new arrests that are coming in. It's the fact that over and over, 96% of the people in the county jail are there pending trial. 96% of the people are represented by the Public Defender's Office. When we looked at it, we saw people being held in the county jail for up to 4 years pending trial. It's not the new arrests. It's the fact that we backlog the system in making people wait for trial. So we proposed that maybe the Public Defender's Office ought to reach out to the private attorneys, pass over some of these cases to private attorneys, get these cases handled instead of keeping people in the county jail. We've been watching since Vera came in with Oklahoma County and the TEAM program that's now pretty much taken over, just releasing everyone. You may have heard that the jail population is down. The jail population is down because they're just releasing everyone. And we set in arraignments each and every day. There's a list. The people that are being released on the TEAM program, 80% are failing to appear for arraignments. Arraignments, that very first court appearance where you don't even need an attorney. Just show up and get arraigned. 80% of them are not showing up. They are releasing illegals on drug trafficking, people with violent offenses. My problem isn't change. My problem is that if we're just going to wholesale it out and say, let somebody tell us what we're doing wrong, who's going to check and balance Vera? Because we know that the information they put out about the jail in the first place was not correct. But even David Prater stood up and said, 70% of the people in the county jail are here on misdemeanors. That was wrong. They revised their first right of their summation of the county jail, and they removed that 70% of the people were there on misdemeanors because we released the truth of who was in the county jail. I think you need to look twice at paying Vera. Look for another source of someone to put together your statistics and tell you how to fix what's wrong. But paying somebody who is already starting out with a bad foot, that's my problem. I appreciate your time.
You're a bondsman, right? A
I am,
bondsman?
sir.
So you have a vested interest in people being in jail, being released on bond.
I'm
You
not
make money off them, correct?
I'm not a very good bondsman. Chief Klebs will tell you that I'm a bondsman. I'm more on the recovery side. When people fail to appear on bail, for the last 20 years, my job has been to locate them and return them to custody.
So you do, so the answer to that question is you do have a vested interest?
Yes.
Okay. The Vera is out of this now. The people that are on the committee are local people. It's
Yes.
not an outside agency. Midwest City did not pay a nickel towards that study.
How much is Midwest City preparing to pay?
We're paying 3.6%,
Mhm.
which is very small compared to what Oklahoma County's paying. It's 50.
Yes.
Oklahoma City's 42, Edmond's 5 something, and Midwest City's 3.6. And the other option is to do nothing, which is why we're at where we're at now.
Well, I think there are plenty of things that you can do.
Yep.
But when we just wholesale just open the doors and say, let everybody go, what we see in Oklahoma County quite often, and you can check any of the records here, if someone gets arrested on one case, then they are just released from jail on pretrial release or on an OR. They go out and they pick up another case. Once they get to the point where they have 2 cases, 3 cases, they already know that whether they have 1 case or 5 or 6 cases, everything's going to get run consecutively. So it doesn't much matter if they've got 1 burglary or 6 burglaries. Once they get downtown, it's all going to be one punishment.
I go back to what I said. You have a vested interest in people going to jail. You make money off it. Our interest is to protect our citizens that are going down there. Because no matter what anybody says, anybody that lives in Midwest City, if they're honest, at some point in time, they're either going to have a family member, a neighbor, a friend, or somebody that they know that are going to make a bad decision that has the possibility of going down to that county jail. And what's going on down there now is not right.
Oh, I
We had
understand.
a resident that went down there, whether innocent, guilty, good guy, bad guy, whatever. He went down there and got jumped and beat up and died. I don't care what his crime was, what his record was, makes absolutely no difference. We have a responsibility to the citizens of Midwest City to make sure that we are protecting them, and that's what we're doing by engaging in this report.
I just want to say this, that Oklahoma has a name of having the most incarcerated people. I know we're top 5 or top 3. So something's going on. I have heard a lot of, I would say, offenders that come from other states, and they say if I had been in that state, it would have been a misdemeanor, and I wouldn't be in jail or in prison. And I thought, we're doing something. It's something that we're not doing here in Oklahoma that we need to get on track and do, because it's costing us a lot of money, and that's why we're having a problem right now with the budget here in Oklahoma. We have too much incarceration. We have to find some way of alleviating that. And looking at this report, something they're proposing, this may be some place to start at, because this doesn't make sense to have mothers incarcerated for misdemeanors. I mean, serving lots of time. I mean, sitting
For
in that county
misdemeanors?
jail. Yes. And I mean, it's like shoplifting. I talked to one offender, she was shoplifting, and she caught a case where she almost about to go to prison. So it's a problem here in Oklahoma. We have a problem. I think we're gonna have to find a solution. If, with all of these names, I am familiar with some of these people, I know them, and I think, you know, they are trying to do a great job in trying to cut these mediocre, offenses where these people can be rehabilitated to be productive citizens. That's what we need.
Thank you.
If I might, let me ask you, Councilman Byrne, my understanding is that this committee is going to be formed irregardless whether Midwest City has a seat at the table or not. Is that your understanding?
Correct.
And these are the individuals who are willing to discuss criminal justice reform currently, correct?
Correct.
And so to address both Councilwoman Price Allen's and your concern, ma'am, it is a jumping off point to discuss these issues with people who have a knowledge base associated with these issues. Fair?
Correct.
If there's no further discussion, I have a motion.
Ms. Knight, first off, thank you for being here. Thank you for your insight. I think Vera is already out of the picture, and we're moving forward with recommendations that obviously criminal justice reform is going to be a big issue in the state of Oklahoma for the next 3 years. We appreciate your involvement. We appreciate you being here and providing your insight. And with that being said, I do have a motion on the floor.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Did you,
Opposed?
was he gonna discuss something?
Just answering if we had any questions.
Oh, okay, no. I'm fine.
Can I continue?
Yes. Thank you.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Next discussion item.
This is discussion consideration of entering into a professional services agreement among and between the Oklahoma County Criminal Justice Advisory Council and Oklahoma County, a political subdivision of the state of Oklahoma, the city of Oklahoma City and Oklahoma Municipal Corporation, and a charter city organized and existing pursuant to the Oklahoma State Constitution, the city of Edmond and Oklahoma Municipal Corporation, and a charter city organized and existing pursuant to the Oklahoma State Constitution, and the city of Midwest City and Oklahoma Municipal Corporation, and a charter city organized and existing pursuant to the Oklahoma State Constitution. The agreement is a separate legal entity created pursuant to the interlocal agreement entered into by Oklahoma County, Oklahoma City, Edmond, and Midwest City pursuant to 74 OS 1001 et al., designed to study and evaluate the criminal justice system, collect and analyze data related to the criminal justice system, promote increased efficiency and effectiveness of the criminal justice system, recommend policies and programs to reduce recidivism, reduce jail population, to increase community and public safety, and recommend policies and practices to control the cost of criminal justice system and incarceration and increase community support for the criminal justice system in Oklahoma County.
Hey, can I say something on this before we even get deeper? There are other cities in Oklahoma County that weren't invited to be part of this. One reason we were is because Chief Claibs is so proactive on things. Because gosh, how many years was it when we got hooked up with Terry White, the Oklahoma Director of Mental Health, where we do things in our jail that other places don't do? That we look for, you know, as I've told Brandon for years, Midwest City Police Department is not a bang bang shoot 'em up police department. We have the most proactive police department in the state, and maybe if not in the nation, as far as looking for ways to prevent problems before problems happen. And it's because of that reputation and because of Chief Claibs that we get invited to be on things like this. And I admire you more than you'll ever know, because there's a couple of cities really close to us that I'm thinking of right now, and they weren't invited to be on this. And I'm thrilled to be a part of this.
Well, thank you for your kind words, especially Councilman Byrne, Mr. Dawkins, Councilman Dawkins, and everyone on the Horseshoe. I want to clarify a few things for Ms. Knight. We've known each other for many, many years, and we've been at the ends of the spectrum on different issues in our careers. We're obviously on the opposite ends in this issue, but on this professional services agreement, the money that's allocated originally was projected to be $250,000. Now it's at $300,000. We pay the 3.6%, as Councilman Byrne has already identified. But that's going to be used for issues like implementation of recommendations that have already been identified. And for one example is their IT, their infrastructure at county with Oklahoma City and with surrounding agencies is not very good. This money could be used to really improve their IT so that the county jail, the judges, Oklahoma City, Midwest City, all communicate with each other on who's incarcerated. That's what the money's going to be used for. It's not to pay Vera. Vera has already been paid. They've already done their study. They're going to be facilitating this process. But all these people who have made these comments are absolutely correct. We're very fortunate to be on this committee. I'm very blessed that Mr. Henson's allowed me to serve as his designee. He actually, in the agreement, is the one that will be on the committee. Unless he can't attend, I will attend. But we have the ability to do justice reform and expand it from Midwest City to Oklahoma County and to take care of our citizens. I agree. What we're doing, I know the mayor agrees with me. He's been in law enforcement, and so does Councilman Byrne. What we're doing now is not working, and it's our obligation to find a solution. And that's all these people that are on this committee are trying to do. And these are people that are well respected throughout Oklahoma County. I'm blessed that I've been able to be involved. Thank you for allowing us to participate. It's a great program, and a lot of it has to do with the relationship that Councilman Byrne has with Clay Bennett. He's very good friends with him. We're here today to discuss this proposal. I would ask that you approve this, and that's what the money's going to, not to pay a consultant, is to improve whatever the recommendations may be. Anybody have any questions I can answer?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
I just saw a stat a couple of days ago. Our Department of Corrections is at 120% capacity as we sit right now. So they're stacking folks in there like cordwood. We're going to have to start finding some solutions, and the solutions are going to start at the municipal level. And I agree with everybody's assessment that we're extremely lucky, but not really lucky, but the fact that we run a professional police department, and then we do look at proactive ways to reduce the recidivism and everything else that goes on in local law enforcement. We're at the tip of the spear, and thanks to Chief Claves' leadership on that. With all that being said, is there any further discussion on this item?
I've got one more thing to say. We're lauding Brandon and his group, which needs to be done, but this is a citywide deal, because this is a quality of life deal.
Absolutely.
This is programs that we offer our citizens, just not the police department. And if we didn't have it, we wouldn't have a seat at the table.
Move to approve?
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Now we now go into the new business public discussion of our agenda. Anyone in the audience having anything to bring forward to the council, please come forward at this time. Hearing none, we're state your name and address, please.
Bob Tony, 116 West Ridgewood Drive. I'm here tonight on behalf of my neighborhood association and also to show support for the efforts that are being made for the railroad crossings that go across the streets here in Midwest City. And if I'm allowed, can I go ahead and give you all a copy of this letter that I wrote?
Yes, sir.
So basically what my idea is that I've talked about this issue with my neighborhood association, and have got everybody that attended to sign off on it to agree that we need to make these corrections and the repairs to the railroad crossings here. I understand that the city's hands are kind of tied when it comes to this issue for the most part. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I know that Patrick has been working on it pretty hard, so I wanted to support his efforts on that. And what I'd like to do is have Mike Stroh possibly go to the neighborhood association meetings, hand this out where everybody can sign, and that way we can have hundreds of signatures, hopefully, when we turn this in to the responsible parties, whoever that is. And what I'm trying to do in this letter is to explain the issues. You know, that when you drive over these crossings, your steering wheel rattles so hard in your hand, and you got to correct your course many times. And you could probably set up a video camera on some of these locations and video this actually occurring. And you know, I'll go ahead and admit that as a 16 or 17-year-old kid, you know, I Dukes of Hazzarded my dad's Lincoln Town Car over there off Douglas Boulevard. Okay, yeah, that was me. That was me. So my dad's passed away now, so I feel free to divulge that. But anyway, that's my thought, and I'd like to get the responsible agency, to perform a safety evaluation at each railroad crossing. So, am I going through the right process on that? Bringing it here to you all?
You're, actually, we've got several railroad crossing projects getting funded. Is that correct, Patrick?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. You know, we've been participating with Rail Division's safety program. We're trying to get some equipment upgraded within the city limits. I know that the main concern, of course, is the road course through those. Unfortunately, the agreements and the program we're participating in doesn't allow the city to address that certain part of the crossings. It's more on the railroad's side of the responsibility of improvement. But there are some improvements coming. We signed some memos of understanding with AOK Railroad that runs the north line that goes to the city. They've committed on paper to try to address as best they can the crossings and the roughness on their line. So as this equipment is switched out and it's updated, our hope is that we'll see their participation and their help on the crossings themselves.
And then on the consent agenda this evening, we passed a memo of understanding that we're going to do a one-time fix on the one on Air Depot, right across from
Near Golden Corral.
the one that's rattling everybody's teeth right now. So we, because the railroad that has ownership of that has been totally unresponsive to our request to get it fixed. Unfortunately, the railroad does own that real estate in between the tracks, and we're, like you said, our hands are tied on making improvements in between the tracks. So and when they're not responsive to our request, it makes it rather difficult. So we are taking some proactive measures to get these issues created or corrected. Plus, too, we're working with ACOG and getting funding and getting some equipment updates and things of that nature. So, but with that being said, your efforts are applauded, and I ask that you continue on with your efforts, because just like anything, the more people we got upset about it, the more we can get done.
Okay, thank you, and I'll get with Mike on the rest of that. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Tony. Is there any further discussion or anything to bring before the council? Hearing none, we're hereby adjourned. Now call to order the Midwest City Municipal Authority. We have two discussion items on the agenda.
First item is approval of the minutes from August 22nd, 2017.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention. Motion carries. Next item.
This is discussion consideration of approving a lease with Oklahoma County for certain property located in the area known as Glenwood Addition. Attached is a lease for the property in Glenwood Addition, which the authority has used for authority purposes, which includes the transfer station. This lease is for a 10-year period. It is our intent to pursue the purchase of the property, but this lease will give us legal use of the property until we can come to terms on the acquisition of said property.
Move, second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion carries. Next item.
New
Or-
business.
I'm sorry, we move into the public discussion of our agenda. Is there anything that anyone wants to bring before the municipal authority? Hearing none, we are hereby adjourned. I call to order the Midwest City Hospital Authority. We have two discussion items on this agenda.
We have the minutes from August 22nd and the minutes from August 29th for
Move-
approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion carries. Next item.
Second item is discussion, consideration of action to reallocate assets, change fund managers, or make changes in the statement of investment policy guidelines and objectives. No action is necessary on this.
Move to approve.
No action is necessary.
You said you was gonna do that.
Easy, quick draw.
We wanted to do that at the beginning of the meeting.
We now move into the public discussion, new business of our agenda for the hospital authority. Anyone having any business to bring before the hospital authority? Hearing none, we are hereby adjourned. Thank you for attending, ladies and gentlemen.